This is Fam Electric Ghost, and we're live on the air with Janetta Stewart for the first time. Welcome to the Fam Electric Ghost podcast. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing great. We love to talk to people from around the world, and we are live at the moment. And before we get to the heart of your story, I always ask a guest a couple questions before we get to the real storytelling of your life and what you do. What motivates you, and why do you do what you do?
What motivates me? Having grown up with 8 siblings, now it's 3 of us living, just staying connected to my family as much as I can and close to God, because had it not been for Him in my life, I don't know where I would be. So God is my motivation, my spiritual connection.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's important to have a focus, and have a vision. You are a published author, and your book is New Artistic Creations. It's all matter of focus, right? That's your book.
Yes,
Is that
yes.
behind you right there?
This is a picture that's in the
Mhm.
book,
Yep.
created by the artist, the illustrator, Garry B, Stewart, who is my brother. So he created this back in 1994. It's actually a three-dimensional piece.
Hmm.
He called the color flower. And, he gave me some instructions back in 1992.
Oh,
And when
wow.
he passed away in 99, I knew what I was supposed to do.
Yeah. So it's a collaboration between you and your late brother,
That's
and so
correct.
and so it's like what you like to do is I guess you got a unique style, blends primordial African folk art with modern 3D imagery. That
Yes.
that's kind of what you're doing, and I guess you're showing it like behind you, so we see an example of it.
Yes. Yeah.
So what was your? Is that the first book you've ever done? Is this the first book?
This is the first of this type. I did a calendar for a fundraiser for my daughter's middle school. They asked me, I would go do artistic expressions around like History Month. Mostly is when that's my time to get out there and um, keep my brother's art alive. It's usually in the month of February. But when he passed away, um, I established January as the month. But from January through February, I'm out there. I'm in the
Hmm.
schools. I'm doing presentations for the kids. I'm letting them get a chance to put the glasses on and see how cool it is, and they love the effect. And then I give them a piece of paper and I tell them, okay, now draw me your creation. Let's put your talents to use. And so my objective is just to keep the arts alive in the schools.
That's hard because a lot of times, like I'm in the sciences because of STEM, but I'm also like left brain, right brain. I'm a musician, and I've always felt like art is very important. My daughter is an artist, and she's a working artist. My wife writes like plays, so our house has always been very much into the arts and not thinking it's like, hey, oh, like when are you gonna get a real job? Like the art is
It's a
like to
real
me
job.
is a real job, and it's really I like to get up in the morning.
Yeah,
I like my job that pays the bills, but
yeah.
art satisfies the soul.
That
I
part.
think that's sometimes if you get into too much like focus on STEM, focus on like, oh, just no science, like the sciences and technology and things like that. It's important to be technologically literate in this age. It's the information age. But art is like it satisfies the soul and the heart, and you really need to have a connection to that to give you like I think balance.
I believe art is the foundation to everything that you just described in the science. We have to work both sides of the brain, and academics is just one side. You add the arts, that's working dually on both sides of the brain. And what I'm finding that they're trying to take that out of schools, and it's unfortunate because my brother that created this picture right here won his first contest in the sixth grade.
Yeah, I think
And
it's really important because I mean, music to me has been a big part, and I see them always like the first thing they want to do is axe the music program, axe the art program, and I understand like there's a focus on athletics, and I understand there's teamwork in sports, but what they fail to understand is teamwork in music. Like if you've
hmm
ever played in an orchestra
yeah,
or a marching band
yeah,
or a concert band, it's the same dynamic that you have on the field
exactly.
as an athlete, but then it gets minimized, and I thought of it, oh, it's not as important. No, you're like
I just think that people haven't really tapped into that side of it. I don't think the majority of people think they have any type of gifts
Hmm.
in that area. So they
Yeah.
don't put as much emphasis in there. It's more driven to academics or athletics. But art is a letter A. So
Yeah.
that need to be included in the
Well,
threes.
yeah, I think the problem is like you think about the arts and people say, oh, like Shakespeare and Dunbar, and it's you've got to be like there's a permission structure. Like if you're not like James Baldwin, then you can't write, right? So, or if you're not Diana Ross, then you can't sing, right? Like, but I think there's a spectrum, and because people put this like level that's so beyond their initial capacity, because you pick up an instrument and probably nobody wants to hear you when you're learning it, right? Nobody wants to see that, but that like you got to give yourself some grace.
Yeah. And you have to allow for exploration in that. I have a grandbaby. I have actually 6 grandkids and 1 great grand. And all of my children have some type of artistic ability. Um, I had my 3-year-old yesterday, my grandbaby, and I
Mhm.
pulled the acoustic guitar out,
Yep.
for the very first time for her. And I laid it on her lap and I just let her thumb through the
Touch it. Yeah.
strings.
Give
Yeah,
them like don't make
and
them think it's unapproachable.
yeah, she started singing a song, so I just recorded it. Like she never touched a guitar before, so now I'm gonna get her one so that she can practice. She's played a recorder,
Mhm.
she plays a tambourine, and so art is big. It's big in my family.
Well, if you give it like the history of African Americans, to go, like the oral history that we have
Yeah.
in indigenous cultures or non-Western cultures is like there was there's a permission structure, like that you don't think it's impossible, right? That you just go out and do it. How many people went to Berkeley, right? Like they just did it. They were in church, they sang, right? They
Yeah.
they just did the work because they like I can do it. Like I feel it. Like if you have that feeling, like the universe or God gave it to you,
Yeah.
and you don't have to get trained. I mean, you can build up your skill set by doing your 10,000 hours, 20,000 hours of
Mhm.
doing the work.
Mhm.
But there's a lot of like you can do it. Like there's a permission structure that you can get out there and feel that it's good. To me, it's cathartic. Like art
Oh,
is cathartic.
for sure. I'm a cosmetologist, so I'm one of those that was gifted at an early age, doing hair straight out of middle school, like Army women. I was doing hair in
Enjoy
middle
it.
school, and I've been doing hair ever since until I was injured, in Germany with my spine. So with that injury, it allowed me to work on Gary's legacy and continue his art and keep it moving.
So his your brother's focus, was it his focus in African folk art, or was it multiple types of art? Is that
He
is
was
that
he was multi. He was a multicultural artist. He just believed in drawing what he felt. And
Mhm.
so some pieces are of you know African descent or culture. Some pieces are just abstract, and you just sit there and ponder, which is what I like to do with this stuff. And I always come up with some cool revelation based on what I see. And no two people going to see his work the same. Like people going to see different things in his work, and that's the beauty of what I love about it.
So do you actually comment about each piece, or do you have like any input from like did he have like a vision for what his pieces are? You just let them be and you make the comments.
Well, my brother was so funny. Like he was the comedian of the family, and he was always joking. Even in 1992, when he sat on my mom's porch, he said, "If anything happens to me, you better keep it moving." Like he was 5 years older than me, and I wasn't going to tell him no, but I did laugh. Like you're not the boss of me. But here I am. He passed away in '99, but here I am. Showcasing his work. I've been overseas in Europe. Patent turning his work, selling his prints that he created before his passing.
Mhm.
And so I was able to piggyback off of that. But before I could do that, I had to get the inspiration from the Lord because I didn't know what to do with his gift.
Yeah, it
But
was,
I know that he gave me an order.
so putting the book together, did you have to actually pull from people with expertise, and like how do you translate art to a book? how do you get into the 3D imagery? Did you have to like seek out expertise, or you started like
It was
what was your direction?
definitely a guidance from something bigger than me because I'm a cosmetologist. Now I understand art and how it works, but not that genre of art.
Hmm.
I can draw, but he had the gift, and so
Hmm.
my goal was to make sure that I found a company, a printing company, that would take this piece of work and make sure that there's no color distortion, that the image still able to pop when, three dimension, like some people can see 3D. I can
Yeah.
see his 3D images and it pops out for me, but not everybody have that ability. It's like that computer generated art. Not
Hmm.
everybody is able to make those little things create something out of the blue. All of a sudden an image pop up. Not everybody's able to do that. So he created these images and then purchased 3D glasses and gave it to them to let them have a different perspective.
Wow. So he was able to actually create the imagery that when you use the 3D glasses, it pops out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they were able to get the printer or the publisher to be able to take like that's a bigger form painting, like then
Yes.
bring it down to a book size
Right.
with that to keep the integrity of the painting. Because my daughter's an artist, and she'll always talk about like I got to be able to keep my watercolors integrity. If I move it from this form to this
Yes.
form, then like it will lose something. And she's like
Yeah.
really talking to the printers and talking to the people that deal with her work. It's like, nope, that's not working.
That's true. That's real talk. And that was my whole piece when I started this process, this journey with finding a United States publishing company to do the work for me because I didn't want to send it overseas, risk
Hmm.
not getting my originals back in its proper form. It took me a minute. And I
Hmm.
found a company in Savannah, Georgia. I'm in Alabama, so I loaded up the car with about 9 of his originals, and he got about 30 of them, 40 of them. So I loaded up 9, took them down there just to see how it's going to work, how much it's going to cost. And when I tell you that was the best thing that I ever done, because they put it on a file so big that they can wrap a car with it,
Oh
or they
wow.
could put it on a building.
So
And so
they can put it on any form. So if you want to go
any
big,
in
if you
any
want to go
from
big,
big,
if you want to bring
small.
it down, you can do it.
Yes. Yes. As a matter of fact, my brother's artwork was featured in Barcelona
Oh
on
wow.
the Metro Tunnel.
Oh wow. So they made it go big. So it went
Oh,
big.
it was 3 of them that went big.
Hmm. That's
And
cool.
now
So
he's
you
headed to
like
Hong
maybe
Kong.
talk about like whether that's a little tangent, but how did you get that to happen?
So I was just cruising on the internet one day, and I had been in Barcelona before, traveling, just visiting, but we were stationed in Wiesbaden, Germany, and so I was already doing things in Germany with his originals. I just couldn't find the right connection to get the prints, so I just held on to it and held on to it till we got back to the United States. But when I was cruising the internet and I saw that Expo Metro was hosting these art walks in public spaces on these big digital boards, I was like, yeah, I want to be a part of that.
Mm.
Aside from the book, because book is my passion now, but the
Mhm.
artwork was propelling all of this
Yeah, that's the
forward.
main thing. To be able to put it in a gallery or give it that big, when
and,
you
and
can go
and get
big.
it to the masses.
Yeah,
You
that's
get
the
it to the
point.
masses, you put it in a book.
Yeah,
To
yeah.
copyright all your stuff, you put it in a book. And so that part of it, the whole journey of that for me was important, that his work was protected and the integrity of it compiled in one space and copyrighted and
That
ownership.
that's really important because, like, just a second to another thing today, with AI, it's learning on people's art, and a lot of times it's like it's not compensating people. So it's really important for people to copyright their work because, like, the big next challenge for artists,
Yeah.
as a musician, like I'm always checking, like I keep on getting you getting legal paperwork on these platforms. And if you don't look at it, they'll say, "Oh, guy, by the way, we're training our AI in anything you put." Like as a musician, if I put something on a platform, they'll say, "Oh, we're training this AI model on your work, and you're not going to get compensated." You're like, "What?"
That doesn't make sense to me.
That's what
How
they're
they can
doing.
do that.
That's what they're trying to. They put it. They hide it. So if you're like using a platform like Spotify, you're using Apple Music, and you as a musician put your stuff on their platform, they'll have these disclaimers, and you have to make a decision. Maybe I should just put this out on vinyl, right? That I don't want to give this song to them because they're going to do that. And so that's like the big thing that's happening with artists today. And even like my daughter is always like I'm not using this tool because in the tool she's using, it says, oh, we're going to train this tool on the work that you're creating on the tool. Like, I don't want you using my daughter's like, no, you're not doing that.
Right.
It's
And
like
you
it's
know,
the Wild West.
to piggyback off of that, I think a lot of musicians or singers that publish their work, it's almost the same thing as authors that they're going through with the legalities and the rights to your stuff. That's becoming more of a problem now than ever before. And it was my hope that because he had so much artwork to be exposed to, I said, let me just put it in a book and copyright the book.
Yeah, so
everything that's in the book.
Yeah, it's so important to people know that you got to publish to get that copyright, let the legal process behind it. But you know, the problem we got a world today where these tech bros, like if I'm a person and I plagiarize something, right, as a journalist or something, I write something, like they'll come after me. But if you're wrapped around a big corporate structure, they can get away with doing it. They'll go to a bunch of legislators and say, hey, we want a 10-year moratorium on any rules against AI. That's what they've been pushing around in the West. Like in the EU,
yeah,
they have said, no, you can't use an artist's work without paying them.
Yeah.
But in the West, right, in the US right now, they're saying, oh, let's give them a technological advantage and not allow people's privacy or copyright laws to be enforced. So they think just take it. That's what we're living right now.
It is so sad. I had a situation. This book right here is my rebranded book. I initially came out with this same book, but I had to rebrand it differently because of the imprint. When they have their imprint on your book,
mm-hmm.
it's a problem. And so I got some wisdom from the people that are supporting me now and help me get that back under
your control.
Because that's the way I thought it was supposed to be anyways. But when you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah.
And so it's more to it than just writing a book. You got to know the business side of it all. But when you think that you know the business side, they throw you a curveball. And for me, it was the imprint.
Yeah, well, that's always the problem. I mean, artists are always getting caught in this. I mean, you can see the history of musicians, like, yeah, the master, like you wrote the song, but the company owns the master. So what happens? Like that means they can go put it in a commercial even if you don't want them to,
and don't have to pay you for real.
Yeah, and so the artists today in today's world, they say, I want to own the master, or I'm not signing the contract, right? But back in the days, like people would just sign the contract to get on a radio, to get on a tour. And so they found out that like, oh, I can't stop them from putting it in this movie. I can't stop them from doing it here. And then they're like, wow, I didn't realize that. Like your manager didn't tell you. Like you didn't know because you're just trying to do the work.
Yeah, well, that's the same thing that's happening to authors. They get under these companies and the company put their imprint on their book. They produce more books with the company's imprint. And then it's harder to come up out of it. And I just thank God that he gave me some clarity and some understanding through the process. I was able to stop it. I mean, it had hit Amazon. It was on Barnes and Noble. And I just had to, cut the ties, stop the process. Yeah. I'd rather roll it back now than to have 2 books in and have to try to roll it back. That's not cost effective.
No, it's a hard lesson because like a lot of times people just want to, like it's the artist dilemma. Like when you think about it, like a lot of us artists, we start when we're young. So you think about some 17-year-old and somebody come and give you a big contract, give you a bunch of money.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, did I read it? Not really. Like you get a lawyer and did they really tell you what it meant? No, it's fine. It's great. So by the time you get 25, 35, you're like, oh, that wasn't such a good contract.
Yeah. But
you know.
it's a harder pill to swallow when you get that age and you're thinking that you have something that's going to come in a nice form of a royalty, and it's not much, nothing much at all.
Yeah, that's the big trick today. Like a lot of people are starting to realize, like it's a lesson learned. Like if I go put 1,000 vinyls out and I put it out myself, I'll make more money than I do on Spotify. To make money on Spotify, this people don't understand. A musician on Spotify, they get 0.005 of a penny or 0.006 of a penny
Wow.
per stream. You have to do like billions of streams to make any money. Most people are not going to hit a billion streams. They're not even going to hit a million. They're going to hit maybe 10,000. 10,000, you might get like $30, right? So like if you sell that record, right, for $30 and you get $10 from the $30, right? And you do 1,000 of them. You see how much money you make? You make
Yeah.
way more money for smaller amount of work. So
Yeah.
you could actually have a smaller release and make decent money. You could sell your own t-shirts, make
Mm-hmm.
more money.
Mm-hmm.
So like sometimes blowing up is not the thing you need to do. You're like, how can I actually be a working artist and work the next 30 years?
Yeah.
You know, that you have to think about it. Like instead of like looking for the shiny object they put in front of you, actually
Mm-hmm.
like think it out.
Well, and that's the beauty of what you do and the beauty of what I'm doing with my brother's work, because each piece, at the end of the day for me, it's about licensing. Like, that's where I want to direct his pieces, because I can license individual piece and
You
have that
monetize it. Yeah,
working
you
on
have
the
that
side.
income. Yeah, if you monetize and you get it on, you get it on merchandise. That's a merch. Like that's where most artists today they make the money from their merch.
Right.
They can make it from the T-shirt.
Yep. Yep.
They
Yep.
make it from the cup that has their band logo on it, or the little pen that has the band logo on it, or hat
Look,
that has a logo on it. If you can put the art into things that people buy, yeah, like that.
a little
That's
notebook. That's the direction I'm going. The book is an enhancement to what I already got going on. So I'm developing the brand with products.
Are you trying to like put into galleries the pieces and have them in like art shows?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Just like the Expo Metro, which I think is the coolest thing.
Yeah.
Um, right now, in December, they're going to be having the one in Hong Kong, on Hennessy Road. Is one of the main drags in Hong Kong, and
Hmm.
that's gonna run for 7 days from December the 5th through the 11th.
Oh, so
And
you're already in
so,
that world. You're doing it.
so you buy you a couple of slots, and it's good for any artist anywhere around the world can participate in that, and it's just a springboard to something else for them to do, because you're going to get calls from people, and the way they have it set up. And I would encourage your daughter to check into it. Um, it's not as expensive to me as would be if you go and market, but get a marketing package. Um, when I was with the other company that I had to have my book rebranded, um, I was headed to Times Square,
Mm.
um, and it was expensive.
Yeah, to get it up on one of those big
Yeah,
boards.
on one of them big old billboards. It was expensive, but my brother's in Providence, Rhode Island. I got nieces and nephews and stuff, so I just thought that would be just the coolest thing for them to go to Times Square
You see that?
and,
Yeah.
and see your family stuff out there. That's just family.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
was willing to do it, but when I saw that imprint on that book, I was
Hmm.
like, I cannot.
Yeah. Well, it's always like you get into something, you start learning lessons learned. Like as you start to, get your work out, sometimes the first contract you get, you're all excited you get it. And then you find out it's like, oh, that's not actually what I need. But it's like
Yeah.
it's a learning process. You gotta
Hmm.
every artist like I always run into this big issue. Like in your artist, you want to spend time creating or put anything out, right? But you have to think about the business. And most of business is like the thing most artists like that's the last thing they want to think about because they want to be creating, and the business side is the hard part.
Oh yeah. But it's the business side for me is already in motion. I just wanted the book to
Mhm.
add to the collection of things that's already in motion. Like, and the marketing piece was just extra, to push it a little bit further and get more people knowing. Because we've traveled overseas, and I travel with my brother's work overseas and set up at, I don't know if you're familiar with AFES.
Mm-hmm.
I had a concession with AFES for
Well, that's
two
cool.
and a half years.
So you've been on that world doing it, and you
Yeah,
just got to make sure that you got the best opportunity or the best, because like a lot of times you have to know what you want
yeah,
and know what you want. Like what are your boundaries? Because a lot of times some people don't realize like you got to set your boundaries when you're working with people,
hmm,
because the people will push
yeah.
what they want, and you got to know what you want.
Oh, for sure. And I know I didn't want to continue to carry my brother's originals around, put them on display, which is why I took them to Savannah. And now I can get them this biggest shower curtains. So I
Mhm.
have
You
in
can
my
just protect
exhibit.
them and put them in some safe archive so the originals are protected. Like,
Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
because you have to think like you think about like Prince in his vault. You have to you put all this stuff in this kind of control, climate controlled vault,
Yeah,
and then because the materials can degrade if you don't
for
put it in the
sure.
rice, like art and like tape, anything
Yeah.
that's art, like
Paint.
tape or paint, or even like if you're dealing with like like porcelain or people who
Yeah.
are doing like vases and vases and different things. You have to really think of like, how do I protect this original? Like, where do you put it? And that's an investment. And
That's so true.
you have to
My
think about like,
goal, my goal for the originals is to get them housed in the Smithsonian. But with what's going on up there in DC, it's
oh
like
yeah, now it's hard to
you
get
got me
in.
pumping my brakes here.
Yeah, it's like oh like we can't have black art anymore. We can't have African American art. What's wrong with
I'm,
that?
I'm gonna have to keep them in crates for a little bit longer.
Yeah, I don't know if I would send it to them because like where are they gonna put it? Because these guys are in this kind of mode. They're like, oh, you're in the cancel mode.
Cancel, and I'd have a problem, and it would be an issue if
Yeah,
my
you don't know
stuff
where
was
they're
there.
putting it because these guys don't have respect. Well, like you should respect all art, right? And then they have this point of view is like, well, some art is better than other art. Like, really?
I got something coming up, but don't allow. Hold on,
You're right.
I don't know. Something just popped up out of the blue on the screen. So I
Oh,
had to get it off. Yeah. But yeah, we just definitely just gotta keep hope alive that things will change and work out for the good.
well, I think it's like to me, it's like my grandpa always says, like you just got to show up. Part of my idea with podcasting is like in podcasting, people can't they stop their podcast after like 10 episodes if they don't get what they want. Most podcasts end after like 10 shows because people didn't get where they wanted in 10 shows. But a lot of times, like, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
Like, if you're an artist, usually artists they continue to create art for their whole life.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
don't do it because they didn't get to be in the top 10 or the
Exactly.
top 50. They do it because they love it. Like if a
Yeah.
painter I knew, like they're doing it till they can't paint anymore, or they can't. Musicians they can't until they can't play on the fretboard.
And that was me, for a season with just trying to keep Gary's art, before the people. I just did it because that's my brother and he was awesome and I want his artwork to
No.
stand the test of time.
So when he was alive, was he able to really get his art connected to
So he
people?
had an art gallery in Lubbock, Texas,
Hmm.
and he was doing great things and selling his originals.
Oh wow! So
And he
there's
had,
a lot of work already out there.
yeah, and he had prints created prior to his passing, and he didn't get the chance to sell them all. So as of now, he did 1,000 of the four. He did 1,000 of each one. So as of now, I have 500 of each one.
Oh wow! So do you have all the work that he ever produced? Do you have a good archive of what he had done?
I do, with the exception of what my sister decided she wanted and what my brother what he wanted. But for the most part, I have the almost the full collection, and I have access to those whenever I'm ready to go to Savannah and have them produced into plates, so that I could convert them over into prints.
So the construction of the book it talks about like illustrations with thought provoking narratives. Can you talk about what are the narratives in the book?
So the narratives are actually scriptures scriptorial based. Um, for me, when I was ordered to do the book, it started back in 2012, and life just got to lifing, and it never manifested. So there again, I put it in a bag and set it to the side until my husband's in the military. So life is different when you
Yeah.
in the military, and so oftentimes you're a single parent for a season. And so my turn will come. I'm not in a hurry. I'm a cosmetologist. I can still do what I need to do. This was a hobby for the most part with Garry's stuff. But every year that was purpose to do something with his work. I don't care if it was at the school on Black History Month. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to display his work at the bank. I'm going to be on the corner. I'm going to be out there somewhere. I'm going to be out there. Mm-hmm. And that's what I did for 25 years. And this is actually the 25th year. Is why the book is a special edition.
Oh, wow.
Because this is the 25th year I've been doing it. And I'm going to continue to do it until God calls me home. And then I'm going to pass it on off to his children. They'll have something to build on.
So in terms of where this book goes in different formats, is the current format of the book, is that what you're going to stay with, or are you going to evolve it into other spaces?
Initially was just to get his artwork compiled in a book so that I can have my copyrights all together. That was the thought process of me producing the book. But then the Holy Spirit was like, you can't do anything different until you give me my due. And I couldn't even write a memoir if I wanted to until I give what God had initially gave to me to do. And it's an assignment. I had an assignment. Mm-hmm. It wasn't completed in 2012. Don't mean that the assignment is not going to go forward. So my baby brother passed away in 23. I was sitting at the table, and the Spirit spoke to me just as loud and clear as finish the work. And I knew exactly what he was talking about. So I went ahead and pulled it out. And the work was to elevate him. My dad told me and my brother Garry in 1992 that seek first the kingdom, because we was out there planning. 1992, me and my brother Garry was like, I'm going to get my gallery. I'm going to graduate from college. I said, I'm going to get my license, and we're going to open up this big old building. We're going to do this and that and the third. My daddy came out there and said, man, y'all sitting up here plotting and planning. You can't do anything until you put God first. And me and my brother looked at each other. We was like, okay, Dad, we know how we were raised. We know our foundation. We know what we need to do. And we did that. And here I am today to testify that if you stay focused, because it is a matter of focus, but where is your focus? For me, it was the higher calling. It was God. That was my focus. I kept my focus on him. I did what he asked me to do. And blessings are coming. Like blessings are coming from the left to the right. They're just flowing. And I'm thankful.
That's awesome. So, I mean, so this book is really, like to get it, recorded and actually buttoned up so you actually have the copyright and you see, like you said, but also from there, you were already doing the galleries and the showings. Are there other plans to like get it into the digital space, or just keep it in the kind of like physical space?
Initially, before the book, I was thinking of the licensing. Like I said, going into licensing, and what I wanted to do and still will do at some point in time is connect with someone like Sony. They have the 3D, anyone with the 3D technology where you wouldn't actually need the glasses, but you can sit there and look at the screen and the image is already 3D. So I know Sony has that technology, and it would be awesome to connect with them, to have them put that in the form where I can send it to all the schools. So because right now they're not taking bus trips to museums. They're not doing much of anything in the arts. And I don't even think they really take the kids to the ballet anymore to watch the dance performances.
Oh, so, yeah. So if you can get it virtually, digitally.
Yeah, everything is virtual. So why not put my brother's artwork out there virtually in every classroom around the world? Like, that's what I see.
Yeah, my daughter, she does some art projects with, like, she has a project where they had a virtual gallery for artists with disabilities, and everything's in this gallery, but it's an online gallery.
That's cool. That's
And
cool.
so like when you look at you walk into this gallery, it's like a 3D gallery. And if you click on a painting, some paintings are actually videos. So the artists have created videos.
Wow.
And then some of them are actually paintings, but then you can zoom in on them and zoom out on them.
Yeah.
So that's the world we live in, where that is possible. And so like to move into those spaces, and even the future, like holograms, there's a lot of cool stuff that's like we're in the 21st century, and the
Yeah.
tech is the thing, but like virtual and holograms and all different types of things, actual wearing a headset and actually going into the painting.
Right.
That's where things can go. I mean, you can actually
That would
get
be
into
so cool.
you're in the world of the painting. You're actually in it. That's where
That would
things
be so cool.
can go. And like so you could keep on moving your brother's legacy into this new frontier.
What we would call it new dimension.
Yeah.
Because it's a new dimension, and he called his work intellectual, three-dimensional, abstract art. That's the term that he gave his work.
So when he was did he ever collaborate with other artists, or is it's all his vision?
So initially he was supposed to collaborate with Alex Batiste. I don't know if you're familiar with this artist out of Savannah, Georgia. He's renowned and out of Haiti. He's born in Haiti, came to the United States, made his home in Savannah, and him and Garry was going to collaborate, and Garry was going to put some of his 3D images into some of his it's more like Jamaican Haitian style painting, and they were going to collaborate that way. But Garry had passed away before he was able to really. Garry was 39 years old. So he really hadn't had an opportunity to really get it out there like he would have liked to. 39 years old is young.
Yeah, it's young for an art, because usually you have your periods and they go with your life, and he still had a lot of life he could have been. Yeah, but in the time, like he was very prolific for the time that he had.
Oh yeah, he established his gallery, and he was able to run that from like 1994 till the time he passed. Wow, so he was able to do something, and in that sell his originals.
That's important. Be able to get people to be out there. Did he have like people who are I guess how do you call it? When you're an artist, sometimes you have people that actually support you behind the scenes. Did he ever have anybody doing that? Was he all kind of self-funded?
I'm not real sure, but Texas Tech University, I think that they kind of supported him in his endeavors pretty good. In fact, I'm not quite sure because I haven't been down there yet to see if they have any of his work hanging up in the building. But the post office, he did a mural for the post office.
Oh, wow. So he was connected to the community.
It was the Eagle, the what is it, the American Express Eagle. He drew that up on the wall, and that's still there.
Oh, wow. That's really awesome. But you said like you like to promote what children today are not being given, like the arts as aspiration, and being a painter or an artist, sometimes it's just the softer things, like the things that are hard to monetize. Everybody wants to get a metric and say, oh, like what are you going to do? You're going to be an accountant, like you're going to be a lawyer, you're going to be a doctor. And then when people say, oh, I want to be an illustrator, I want to be a painter, or I want to be a poet, people kind of like, well, where are you going to get a real job? You kind of get this like pushback. Like you're trying to show that with your brother, like he was able to do that, to actualize his vision.
Yeah. I think it's just a matter of keeping it before the kids and letting them understand that this could be something that's lucrative for you. It just depends on how far you want to take it. And even as a cosmetologist, people say, that's not a career. Yeah, that's a profession. And, I can rent my space in somebody's building and be just fine and make good money. But you got to have some skills. You got to if you're going to be an artist, you need to be an artist. Otherwise, you're not going to be.
It's that permission structure. Like every time I ask like an artist, Like, what made you feel that you could do that painting? What made you feel you could do that book? What made you feel you could be an actor? And there's this point where somebody says, they're not going to be scared about what the world, how the world reacts to what they do. They're going to deal with the repercussions of maybe you're doing something that nobody's ever seen before. And the first impression sometimes is nobody knows how to handle it. And as an artist, you have to be able to push through that and say, I'm going to keep on doing it.
And take the criticism.
Yeah.
I've had people say, "Oh, that's not art. That's just so premature beginnings. What is this?" If I had people say that, I'm like, well, put these glasses on and then tell me what you think.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like the law of attraction, like things that like the people will gravitate to the things that resonate with them. Right.
Yeah.
And you might be in a place in the moment where that doesn't resonate with anybody in that spot. But if you send it to like Japan or you get it, somebody in Norway sees it, then suddenly they see it. So that's not a reason not to put it out just because the people around you don't get it.
Right.
And a lot of times people are kind of controlled by like the microcosm of where they are, right? Instead of like the macrocosm of the whole world. And once you put it out into the world, like so it's going to resonate with somebody.
For sure. When I sent Garry's artwork to Barcelona, I didn't actually send the artwork. I sent a file. But a lot of the artists had that sentiment where I didn't know how I was going to feel about it being there. And people looking, it was the first time that I was able to put my artwork out there and feel good about it or not. But for the most part, it was so welcomed. Like it was such great reviews about it. I was just like in awe of my own self, just watching all the many pieces from around the world, like in one place, where there's 500,000 or more commuters.
That is awesome.
For like a week and a half.
It's sometimes interesting when you, 'cause I lived in Japan for 2 years, and what I found is sometimes when you live in a different culture, there's a different focus, right? And something that might not work here, like works there, or what they're willing to accept. Because what I found really interesting in Japan, I was walking around, and there was a section in Tokyo, in Shibuya, this place, and there was all these different music clubs, and there was all these Japanese bands playing like bebop.
Wow.
They were playing like Dizzy Gillespie type jazz. And another place they were playing grunge, and another place they were doing classical. There was all this interpretation of like non-Japanese things, like Western and a lot of African American musical styles that were being like not mimicked, but like absorbed. They appreciated it. And when I saw these Japanese bands playing like Coltrane, and I'm like, wow, they really respect this. They love it. And you might not have thought that being from the outside, but once you go on the inside, like there was more of an acceptance of things that even in America, sometimes you're like, they don't even like Coltrane everywhere.
Right. Right. It's the same. I mean, it was the same in Europe. It was the same in Germany, going down there into the places and hearing our music and, them absorbing, what they're hearing. And, I guess they get it in Europe first and then it comes to the United States.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you have to leave. Like Jimi Hendrix had to go to London to get found, even though he had been playing with Little Richard in the Isley Brothers. He wasn't discovered until he showed up in London.
Wow.
Sometimes you have to come out and then come back.
Yeah. And that's usually what happens. So I don't mind going out, coming back in and going back out again. So
yeah. Well, that's cool that you actually had the means of you were traveling. So that you had it's like, oh, well, I could try this here and see what happens.
And did.
Yeah. We have that willingness to like, why not? Like, why not send a file? Like, why not ask? Like, because some people would like stop themselves so much. And I always talk to young people, like show. As like a producer when I'm dealing with a young musician, and they come to me and they try to clone something, like they're trying to copy what's on the radio, and I'm like, I want to hear your own composition. I want to hear what you're scared to show me. because that's really how we're going to build. Because like, what is really going to connect is the something that's coming from you,
Yeah.
not your attempt to copy something else.
Right.
It's something that's actually uniquely yours.
That's critical.
Now, your brother was always like very willing to like kind of dive into his internal self to like express himself. Was that something that he always did?
Gary was the type of guy, not only was he funny, but he was intellectual. He was very smart, and he was artistic, and he was athletic. He had all of those abilities.
Oh wow,
The only thing that he didn't do that I can think of, well, no, he played the drums. Like he had all of that.
wow, it's everything.
Yeah,
It's like,
he had it all.
yeah, it's like a
And I,
Renaissance
you know,
person.
huh?
They call him like a Renaissance man, like a person that can do like everything, and like they're good at athletics, they're good at art, they're good at this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was Gary. Gary was he was the bomb. Like he had everything. The charm, you know, the cars, the good
Wow,
looks. He had it all. He had all of that.
that's cool. It's interesting because like now you're continuing his the energy. Like I always find like with art, it kind of radiates the energy, the frequency that was inside your soul comes
Yeah.
through out your art. And when your art's still around and people appreciate, then it's still like radiating that person. Your people are still experiencing your brother through the energy he put in his artwork. He's living through his art
Yes.
in the real world, because when people have have an artistic capability, it lives beyond their life on the planet. It's out in the ether. It's out in the world.
I agree. I agree. And he was that one. And he had a sister that he pointed his finger in my face and gave me an order. Like I was supposed to do it.
Keep
Like,
it going.
who you think you talking to? But okay.
Yeah. Well, you did it. Like it's really, it's a real testament to you that you actually put the work in. Because I mean, it's that love you have for your family, you have for
Yeah.
your a dear person in your life. But when they, you see that they had this passion, and then you take on that passion and continue it. That's really cool. Because not everybody has that kind of advocate. A lot of
Yeah.
times, artists like their families aren't really supportive.
You know, the Bible says we are our brother's keeper. That is something real to me. In my family, no matter what, it's three of us left. It was eight. It's only
Mhm.
three. And we're gonna keep each other. Even though we're scattered from the north and the south and the east, we still keep it together and we are each other's brothers keepers. And that's what we need more of in our world is, we need to keep our brothers, not just our brothers that we associate culturally, but our brothers, because at the end of the day, guess what? We all bleed red blood. Like,
Mhm.
what are we doing?
Yeah, I think people need to really kind of lean into that, because a lot of times people are kind of pulling apart. Like especially today, things are so pulling apart. When you need to be coming together, it's a productive. I mean, it's not really advantageous for things to go into chaos and pull apart and division. Like even within families, like you need to pull together.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you're in this focus of like showing your brother's life and his passion, and pushing that is like leaning into like that energy within your own family.
Yeah. We all have it in us. God has gifted us with so much wisdom and knowledge inside. All we got to do is pull it out and just use it properly. That's going to better the world, a better
It's a
version
good
of our world.
well, it's a good lesson to kids to like see where that art can go. That focus for young people today to understand, because they get these people would tell you like, well, I don't know, like they get so depressed, they get so negative focused because like they see the news, they see this online, they're on their phone doing the doom scroll, and it's like maybe you should put the phone down,
Right.
right, and think about like what could you do like with like a voice memo to yourself. Like why don't you think about like writing a poem, picking up a pen, picking up like doing some art, pick up a instrument, write a story, like start to like not just like be a consumer. Like a lot of times the social media is like you're just a consumer of whatever this is.
Yeah.
Part of our talent as African Americans is like we've always been creators.
Always.
We've always leaned into that art. Going it's ancestral. It's like it's embedded in our DNA. It is who we are.
It is who we are.
And like you always gotta get like you need to tap into that. If you feel depressed, tap into that.
There's some strength in that. And us, and in addition to the artistic side of us, we're spiritual. And that's the part that we need to go back and revisit and reconstruct and develop, because it's always there. It's always been there. We just need to tap in.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of us have tapped out thinking that it's not real, but I'm here to testify that it is very real to me and my soul, because he has saved me from so much that and guided me through this whole process with Garry's work. This was Garry's gift, not mine. So, but God allowed me to have the vision and gave me the instructions when to push forward and when to pull back.
Yep.
Because it wasn't mine.
Well, you got the path kind of shown to you, and you went on the path, and you knew when to keep on walking and when to pull back, and maybe it's not the right time to make that step.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's super important. I want to let people know that we have this new feature that you probably wondered what this QR code is here. That's a new capability where, like, if you take your phone and you scan that QR code, you'll get to Janetta Stewart's URL, which we have here, but you can't really click on that right now. But if you take your phone and you scan that, it'll bring you to Janetta Stewart's website. So if people click on your URL, what will they find there?
They will find an awesome website that was created in honor of Garry. They will see the book and excerpts of what's in the book. They'll have my bio, talk about me and my life a little bit, and yeah.
That's awesome. We do encourage people to check that out. It's really easy to use your phone to get to it. Or if you're not into that, you can't fiddle around with the QR code, you can wait until the podcast is over. And we've been on LinkedIn, YouTube, and Kick. And within the podcast description, that URL is clickable. We do encourage people to click on the URLs of the guests that are on the show so you can dive into deeper what we've been discussing here. But I want to thank you for being a guest on the Family Like the Ghost podcast. And I hope you have a great rest of your day or an evening.
It's been awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.